Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, we are all set and ready to initiate our event, and we'll kick start our event with our first panel discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, our first panel discussion is on generation and architecture changing perception, and our moderator of our session is architect Atul Srivastava. Ladies and gentlemen, architect Atul Srivastava completed his bachelor's in architecture from the University of Roorkee in the year 1976. During the course of his bachelor program, he stood first in his batch. Ladies and gentlemen, from past 47 years, he has been engaged in a private professional practice in his firm, Vastuang, located in Lucknow. He has contributed with his work in many prestigious architecture, interior and landscape projects. So I request you all to please kindly put your hands together and welcome for the session, Architect Atul Srivastava sir on stage. Alright, so now ladies and gentlemen, it's time to call our first panelist on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, our first panelist is Architect Ashok Kumar. Ladies and gentlemen, Architect Ashok Kumar completed his Bachelor's of Architect from IIID Roorkee, Uttarakhand. He's a gold medalist. Architect Ashok Kumar brings with him an experience of 40 years. During last 39 years of professional practice, he's significant experience in designing along with PMC of large scale infra projects in India such as Medical College, Institute, hospitals and residents. The firm received many awards. Please put your hands together and welcome our first panelist for Architect Ashok Kumar sir. Alright, so now ladies and gentlemen, it's time to call our third panelist on stage. Our third panelist is Architect Ranjan Shukla. I request you all to please kindly put your hands together and welcome Architect Ranjan Shukla sir on stage, Principal, Vision Architect, Lucknow. And now ladies and gentlemen, with this, okay, so now ladies and gentlemen, our next panelist is Architect Ajay Bahl. Ladies and gentlemen, Architect Ajay Bahl completed his bachelor's in the year 1983 from IIT Roorkee. Ladies and gentlemen, Architect Ajay brings with him an experience of 38 years in the field of architecture. During his professional journey, he has also received many awards. In 2003, he won the first prize at a national level design competition. He is also an active member of many professional societies like Council of Architecture, Associates India Institute of Architects and many others. So please everyone, please put your hands together and welcome Architect Ajay Bahl sir on stage. Alright, so with this, we have one more panelist, that is Architect Ranjit Agrawal sir. So ladies and gentlemen, he is serving as the Managing Director at Space D Building Mindscape Private Limited. He also happens to be architect and partner at Rajesh and Associates. Some of his notable work include planning a new factory for the production of wind tower and designing 8,000 square feet corporate office building. So once again everyone, please put your hands together for all our panelists and moderator. So now I request our moderator, Architect Atul Srivastava sir, to please kindly moderate the session. Thank you.
Generations in architecture for the profession is a relatively newer phenomena as compared to other professions which are much older, like artists and doctors and attorneys and where families have generations of and father to son to grandson and further. But since architecture is relatively new in India and even elsewhere, we find that of late, offsprings of architect professional people are taking on the profession, and that is what we are going to discuss. The perception changes with the generation changes in architecture. It is not a new thing actually. The perception within the same generations are not so same in the field of architecture, and when it comes to the next generation, they have to be much more different. So I would invite architect Ashok Kumar, who is the first generation with the second generation architect in his family, to tell us about how did his second generation to become an architect of his own position, or did Ashok wanted to become an architect, and how did they work together now?
Thank you, Vijay. It is always natural fact that generation one, like supposing a small generation, then I have a way of thinking, I have a way of handling things, and because generation to next generation, so there is always a great possibility and great you can say situation of having a different thought process, and quite differently in terms of approach and other things as well. But the very fact remains that since what I have been doing, in terms of certain contexts and certain other situations. For example, I'll tell you, if I am doing let's say a housing project or any particular house, and that has got 20 years ago, if I had done something, had a plot size of let's say 600 square meters, now these days that kind of plot size is also not available. So that is one context. Second, the kind of living pattern and the users' demand, users' choices, material finishes of a certain period. That means if I had designed something in let's say 2000, so that particular building had a certain context of everything, right from the material, choice of user and other things. Now in today's context, if something is being done by my son, then naturally the plot size is different, the requirements are also much different, because the generation living in that house is going to have a certain varied perception, and hence it has a great role to, it's a great kind of relevance to see that the generations change, the requirements do change, and I'm sure this is going to be happening with all concerned, like different people have different situation, but the generation changing will have a perception changing also.
That was nice to know, but we would have liked to know how did your son decide to be an architect?
This is something which is pretty natural. In fact, the very fact, I never told him that he should pursue architecture. It was his own choice that he chose architecture as his own subject of particular choice. So I think it was at around 10 or 11 standard when he kind of decided that he should pursue architecture than anything else.
I know Ashok, actually, being a successful architect does inspire children to adopt the same profession, and they look up to the person and the profession. And similarly, I would request Ajay to tell us when he started as an architect in the first generation. He didn't have a set of practice. He had to work hard for setting up whatever practice he had, and over the years he has established and a well-known flourish in architectural practice. But when his sons have joined him late, they have a practically set up and going on this professional activity, then how does he think or how does he believe that they are taking to the profession, and what is the difference in his attitude and their attitude?
Thank you, Bhaiya. I'll take some more time. See, for me, I think time is the essence of the contract that is read and write. Time is changing, time does change, and with that everything changes. If you see human configuration, that is the most modern machinery on earth. With mind, design, mind, idea, same thing. I'll go slightly ahead. See, at our time, I'm very sure most of us we did, at least in my setup, architecture was not that prominent, architecture was not that known. We knew mainly three branches, that is electrical, mechanical and civil. But then the compulsions you can say, or no options you can say, were such that once you are there, there's no choice, like today. So performance, you know. We slogged so much in our older times that probably that went into the genes of the kids as well. That became natural. Working nights, hard working. Probably that made them come into the profession. But yes, once they've come in, a lot of what I would say, the moral support is the biggest support you get, more than anything else. But time is so changing, like the Gen, what is that? Gen generation, Gen. It has a different concept for everything. So architecture, nothing in specific. It is the changing trend. It is the digitization. It is the net. अभी ऑस्कार में जो फर्स्ट अवार्ड मिला है, what is that movie, Dr. Sir? Everywhere, everything. And you would go, it will go beyond your head. But that is what is now coming. So big gap, big change. So you got to decide on how you take it. That's why.
Yeah, that is fine, that is a good point you made. But what you know is that when you started off in your profession, you had to start from scratch, and you built up a professional practice and successfully at that. When the second generation came into the picture, they did not have that struggle at their hands. So did it change their perception or their way of working, or did it affect to some extent how they function in the profession?
On that I would share that definitely they had more knowledge, they knew the subject, they knew everything, they knew the terminology, they knew the ups and downs also. So they were more prepared than what I would say I was prepared. But the point which is surprising is their approach is different, the solutions are different, the targets are different, the ambition is different. See, my father, I remember when partition took place, they came to India. I think their purpose basically was survival. When I came of age, I think my purpose was basically establishing.
That's about all. The next generation definitely is not survival, not establishing, achieving something which the others have not. So that altogether changes the dimension of the whole game. The intent changes. When the intent changes, the action also changes. And with that, the whole thing changes.
That is good. Actually, professional stability in an organization does help the newcomers to have an independent and a more open outlook to the person who had to struggle hard to establish it. I would request Architect Ranjan Shukla to tell us about his experiences as being a first generation architect with his second generation architect and the difference in perception that he feels may be there between the working style and attitudes between them.
Thank you, sir. For me, generation in architecture, the generation generates new energy, a new zeal in the overall environment which you already have in your office. For me, it was very difficult for my son. In fact, I generated that particular thought that he should become an architect. He said, Papa, मैं नहीं कर पाऊंगा, sorry, मैं फेल हो जाऊंगा. I forced him to go there, but I am very happy to know that the moment he came out of the college and joined me, the overall energy of the office, the younger generation, the energy, the thought, in fact the exposure they have in nowadays, with the exposure we had in our days, is very different. And changing perceptions, it has overall renewed the perception we have. They have the tools, they have the exposure, they have each and everything. And in fact, I would slightly disagree with Ajay Goyal sir. Sorry sir. It took us time to establish. Agreed. But if the younger generation, they think that we have got an established office and we have to continue it, they are sadly mistaken. They will have to strive because the overall scenario of this particular profession has changed. We established in our times. In these times, they have to establish again. Yes, initial thriving is not required, agreed. But that particular energy, that particular thought process, that particular perception is still required for them to continue the legacy we have. It's not easy, but I'm very happy that the young...
That was nice, Ranjan. But we all understand, we do understand that even an established practice does not ensure or guarantee a very successful future professional life. One does have to strive to maintain that status or maybe improve upon it. And if one does not do that, then we have seen practices go down. So, what I meant, I did not mean that the child will not have to do anything in his profession, but he does have an advantage over you to have an established practice to enter into at a higher level rather than the way you started or we started when we were starting our practices.
Agreed, sir, I'm totally agreeing to it. But if they take it for granted that we have an established office, we can continue our father's legacy, I'm sorry sir, it's very difficult. आज के टाइम में the overall scenario has changed, the profession has changed, the way of presentation has changed, the competition levels have changed. In fact, the profession and the professional practice has degraded a lot. It has degraded. And with the degradation we are having day to day, it will be very difficult for them to establish. In fact, to continue the legacy we have, for that they will have to work very hard. Very hard means it will be very hard.
Thank you, Rajan. We got it. And the degradation of the profession is a different subject matter altogether. And to my belief, I certainly believe that the degradation is because of us architects also, and not because of anyone else. So that is a different debate at some other time. I would request Architect Rajat, the second generation architect of very successful architect Rajesh Agarwal, and who has been a known figure in Lucknow, UP and otherwise. And Rajat has also been able to, if not better, I think he is doing better. Maybe I would ask him rather how he has to some, what I have a little perception not, but an inclination that Rajat is following a different, slightly different field in the profession of interiors and primarily, but I may be wrong there, and I would request him to tell us more about his experiences and perceptions that have over the time established. Right.
Thank you, Uncle. I am one of those panelists who is the millennial, the generation that is there. I was requesting the organizers that I should get a brother in hand next to me who could understand our side of it and speak about it. But since I'm the only one, the whole thing is when we come after doing our architecture into the practice with our fathers who are established, who have worked really hard for the practice, because all of them has started from ground zero. We surely get a jump start. A lot of architects who keep thinking that we would do a project like this, a project like that, we start a profession, we start an architectural life with those projects. We also have that our fathers come with a set notion, but being architects, they are always acceptable to change. Because of that change, we also have a pressure, as Ranjan Shukla sir said, कि एक establishment तो है. How do we not end up, how do, like our fathers are like Abhishek Bachchan. How do we be the Abhishek Bachchan in the fraternity? Because being a Star son is not easy, trust me. It's not easy. Because there are a lot of practices, a lot of employees that have been coming down from the ages to come and be accepted by those employees or associates. Difficult. It takes its own good time. These are certain things the fathers also understand. I would you when I started my practice with my father in 2006, once I came back from the US. For 1 year, I was just sitting in his chamber, and I asked him, please don't introduce me as your son, so that I learn unbiased as to how you are operating, because I have to blend in. I can't be thinking about my new enthusiasm and energies and just put that through, because as sons we might just topsy-turvy the whole practice that is happening. So I think we have been lucky that our fathers at the same time have given us a platform. मेरे फादर हमेशा कहते हैं कि वो गलती करो जो हमने सोची भी ना हो, बट वो गलतियां मत करो जो हम कर चुके हैं. What do you want to do?
That was a good ending, Rajat, and glad that you have taken on the profession to newer heights. And I would want to ask you, what about the various, like, your father was mainly in the field of profession of architecture, and you're also doing more of interiors and architecture both. So how does the two work out together?
Sir, for this, when I joined that, what happened is he was doing a lot of residences. He was not into government jobs. There was very less government projects. So slowly and steadily, so that we don't get on loggerheads. So I was helping him putting the new perception, new energies in his residences, but he still was the face when it came to residences in front of the client. And in front of the government, he promoted me and said, you handle this. He was helping me at the back on the same projects because, again, there was a lot of credibility, a lot of experience that I of course needed, practicality, because at times we are far away from practicality. At times we are just, ye kar denge, wo kar denge. That does not happen.
That was nice, and I hope we managed a good panel discussion here for the audience. I don't know whether I can take the liberty of asking the audience if they have any questions, but we do have a good audience here. And thank you very much, and I thank the panelists very much for their valuable inputs we have here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Bazooda Talia Ujja for all our panelists and for our moderator for moderating this session so well. And now, first most, I request architect Prasenjit Sanyal sir. मैं उनसे request करूँगी कि वो please आगे आए, हमें आके join करें to present memento to architect Atul Srivastav sir. Everyone, जोरदार तालियों के साथ please welcome sir on stage. Next up, I request architect Neeraj Kushwaha sir. मैं उनसे request करूँगी कि वो please आगे आए, हमें आके join करें on stage to present memento to architect Ashok Kumar sir. जोरदार तालियों के साथ please welcome sir on stage. Thank you, sir. Now I request Sunil Srivastav sir to please come and join us on stage to present memento to architect Ajay Bahl sir. एक जोरदार तालियों के साथ सर को welcome कीजिए आप सभी on stage.
Hello. Hello. जी बोलिए. जी बताएं.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Professor Shahabad sir to please come and join us on stage to present memento to architect Ranjan Shukla sir. जोरदार तालियों के साथ please welcome sir on stage.
सर आप आधे घंटे बाद कॉल बैक करिए. आधे घंटे बाद कॉल करिए.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to request Dr. Arun Kapoor sir. I request you, sir, to please come forward and join us on stage to present memento to architect Rajit Agrawal sir. जोरदार तालियों के साथ please welcome sir on stage.
Excuse me. Excuse me. With the permission of the moderator. Excuse me, sir. Atul sir. Atul sir, मैं इधर. With your permission, I would like to add one thing, sir. For me, I am the next generation architect of these Star Wars. For me, my next generation is there. For their next generation. Sir, your blessing, please.
Thank you so much, everyone. I request you all to please